Well, good morning, everybody. It is September 22nd, 2014, and now to open up Commissioners Court. And we'll have Mr. Bond say a prayer for us, and we'll lead the pledge. Both pledges.
Heavenly Father, we thank you this day that come before you and do the business of this county. We ask that, Lord, that you would continue to give us guidance and grace to do those things that are pleasing, Lord, in your sight as we continue to do those things pleasing in your sight as for the good we make up for all the citizens of Potter County. Thank you for all of the heads of this county, Lord, that continue to battlefield to do their work, and for those that are our first responders, military, continue to stand in the gate for us for our protection in this country, Lord, in the foreign field, the world. We ask you to guide us through this day as we deliberate, Lord, as we continue to cause and work those things. So let's continue forward in this county. Guide us and keep us in your name, we pray.
To the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item number one, approval of the minutes from September 8th, 2014, and September 11th, 2014, Potter County Commissioners Court meetings.
Second.
A motion to approve in a second. All those in favor? Passes 5-0. And item number two, vouchers. Consider and act upon approval of the payment of vouchers processed by the county auditor's office for the period of September 3rd, 2014 through September 16th, 2014. The total checks number 157923 through 158188 and wire transfers number 432 through 440 in the amount of $2,787,893.19.
Move we approve the vouchers as presented.
Second.
I have a motion to approve in a second. Any comments?
I have one question, page 11 of 34, check number 158029, vendor Allstate Family Ford, the amount of $2,350.50, repair Constable One's vehicle. Was that an accident?
No, it was the engine problem, and we brought that to you to transfer money to cover that.
Okay.
It was an engine
The
problem.
engine, okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll just make one quick comment as a follow-up from the vouchers at last court. Our agent that we discussed that was traveling and would be leaving Potter County, I did confirm the nature of that travel, and she was representing Potter County and speaking for the Cooking with Friends initiative that started in Potter County. So she was actually the speaker at that event representing Potter County. She did not stay for the entire seminar for her portion. So I did want to report that back to the court.
A motion to approve in a second. All in favor? Passes 5-0. Item 3, insurance report, to recognize the insurance report is catered.
Yes, sir.
There you are, hiding behind the pole.
I am.
Okay, you want to have a comment?
There's nothing remarkable on this report.
All right, so ready then. And treasurer's report, we'll recognize the monthly treasurer's report, and Ms. Jennings coming to the podium.
Alrighty.
Good morning.
Okay, we had our $5 million CD, Cedars, matured September 17th. It's $5 million, as I mentioned. And our interest earned was $2,193.53. As of this morning at Emerald National Bank, cash, I have $13,504,943.19. Currently, I still have a Cedars for $3 million. And in text pool, both, text pool and text pool prime, $2,422,706.30. So our total cash available this week is $18,927,649.49.
18 million. I hope it's not 18,000.
Yeah, we need to really tighten up for this last one. No, we should be in great shape for the end of our fiscal year, or whatever expenses and stuff we have coming through. And then once Carrie and I need to visit and get a clear picture of really what is still out there that I need to pay for, then I will reinvest once we kind of see where we'll be before our new tax law starts.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So recognized. Item number 6, the Park County Extension Office to hear an agent updating regarding activity hosted by the Park County Extension Office.
Make 5.
I'll do it. Oh, okay. I said 5, I read 6. Okay, we'll try that again. To hear a report on various Potter County projects and take any action necessary.
It's
Mike, sorry.
How y'all
Good
doing?
morning.
Just a few updates. The county courthouse, to make you aware of the issue with Journeyman Construction and their subcontractors. I got notification from the subcontractor that did these 2 wing sections here about a week ago, stating that it would take them a little while longer to get back to proceed any further. And we were currently working on Julie's area up there. But I sent them a request, and I think Dave, I copied you in on that, for them to give us some type of idea of when they're gonna come back and pick this work back up, and they will not respond. So we're back at standstill again once with our warranty items. Volunteer fire station, Pat and I have been going through schematic design. Pat, do you want to address it, or do you want me to about the toss? The architect had notified Pat and I the other day, Pat and him had a 2-story structure out there due to the toss requirements. For ADA, you're not allowed to have an elevator, or if you have that, you have to put an elevator in the building. You have an upper, 2nd floor level you use for the public employees. So we're looking to bring that level down to a lower ground level, and Pat's want to use that as a storage up above. So those are things we're working out with the architect right now. Hopefully we'll have that back this week for Pat and I to go through to continue the red line. Then we'll be heading into design development. Next changes are on your Hell flood projects. The JP3, we went back through their project here this past week, revisited it, and Dave, I hope you're within the first part of this week that maybe bring you some proposals on all these projects. Fairgrounds County Extension Flood Project, have you had the opportunity, Mercy, to go out there and see the new flooring?
I have not yet. Is it installed?
All the contractor, we switched the materials there at the end, so the contractor went and picked up all they could pick up. The only thing that we did not get 100% done was our conference room there on the east side. The longest lead time we're looking at is 12 weeks there, so it may be end of November, 1st of December before we have that completed. Get the chance, y'all go look at that, we'll change that place. District Courts Building, one of the projects you approved to get completed out of this budget, here's the lighting over on the parking lot. Get the chance at night time to drive by and see that, and make a big difference. That was all I had.
Thank you.
Go to item number 6, the Potter County Extension Office to hear an updating regarding activity hosted by the Potter County Extension Office.
We have Elizabeth Grisham with us. Good come up to the podium. And what we've done this year and will continue is every quarter, we have a different agent present to the court and just give various updates of what's happening. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited that it's my turn finally. I've been waiting all year. I hope it's okay if I pass out some stuff because I love you informing you guys of everything that we're doing. So I probably am going to give you more information than ever. Thank you so much for coming. Sitting over the organizing. In the packet. Thank you. Thank you. Again, this is just some information because I love to make sure that you guys have everything you need. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about. It's like, oh my gosh, I got one shot that tells everything that I do and that we've done in the office. I guess I'll start out with the fair. Of course, you know that we completed the fair. I'm only going to speak on the family consumer science highlights because I haven't been able to talk to Connie. He's been so busy, and I'm not sure what the numbers are in 4-H and those activities, but he'll share that with you. Amy and I did host the senior day, and Commissioner Church was there. I know he was familiar with the amount of seniors that attended. I think Amy said it was almost 700 by the time we did the count of the day of everybody coming through there. Of course, that event was targeted for seniors. It was a health and wellness kind of a community resource event. We had several booths of informational booths for them on all kinds of resources in the community. Also health screenings, which was very important, and a nutrition, health and wellness booth. So that was exciting. Also, Amy and I and the agents from the other districts, we put together, from this district, we put together the Pride of the Panhandle, and we had that there at the fair. I don't know if y'all went through the fair and saw that, and it's a whole day of agents doing, bringing in food demonstrations and handing out food samples that are economical and healthy, and I even put those recipes in there, because home economists, we have to hand out recipes. So you've got the recipes, the families tasted the recipes. We also gave out little kitchen gadgets to help them make the recipes, measuring cups, potato peelers, vegetable scrubbers, cutting boards. All of this was free throughout the day for those families who came by our booth. So there was about, I'm going to say 300, 350 families. It's hard to keep count. Every child that comes through, we had schools that brought kids, and so it was for the entire family. And then, of course, we had our culinary events. I don't know if any of y'all were involved in that, on the different contests, sponsored like a beef contest and so forth, salsa contest. So we had those events too that brought in lots of families, lots of corporate partnerships, so we were excited. And also excited that it was over and we got to pack up. Look forward to the next year, right? Again, since I get this opportunity, I get to tell you all a little bit about Prairie View Cooperative Extension Service. And so I am a Prairie View agent. I know all of you are familiar with that, but you might not have the opportunity to visit with me, and sometimes there's still some confusion on how that works. And so in your packet, I put little cards that they send so that I can get out to the community that explains it. Basically, Amy and I do the exact same thing, except my funding comes from the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and it's strictly targeted at the low-income, underserved communities in Potter County. So I get to go out and reach some non-traditional audiences that have never been exposed to the extension service. So I started April of 2013, as y'all know, and during that time, I'm just out there building those relationships, bringing in new audiences. Basically, we have a special mission and mandate that we work with the people who need us the most. Many of them have limited personal and family assets, limited opportunities, come from communities with those limited assets. And my favorite thing to do, if y'all don't know me by now, is I take a picture of every single program that I've ever conducted. And as you know, that's about 250 programs a year, so I have every single program, but I didn't give you every single program. I think pictures tell more than me talking. So I have the color copy because, we can't afford it. But these are to show you the 5 program areas that I am required and mandated to work in by law: nutrition, health, and wellness, financial stability, parenting, food safety, and 4-H. And I go out into the community and bring in new audiences, and this shows you by subject matter, who I've reached, Wesley Community, Habitat for Humanity, refugee families, Title I schools that are primarily Hispanic, African American. Hamlet 4-H Club was started last year. We're gonna work with Whittier, 90% Hispanic. We're gonna start a 4-H club there. You know, just gives you an idea of how I've gone out and reached those families. Polydoro Cluster, we targeted PD, went out and worked with the soccer team there, part of nutrition, health, and wellness. Amigos United, with the store director there, working with those families. So that's just an idea. Okay, and what I've been doing is, gosh, I can talk forever, but I know we gotta go, so do y'all have any questions?
What is probably the most challenging thing that you've seen coming on year now plus and starting a lot of these initiatives?
Challenging, gosh, I don't even look at it as challenging. I really love what I do, and I'm finally given the opportunity. I was a AgriLife agent in Lubbock 16 years ago, so I say that, you know, God always has a plan. 16 years later, I found my niche and know exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I really love what I do. I wake up smiling every day, and I just go out, and I don't look at it as a job. It's not really a challenge to me. It's just that I enjoy it. I think you notice when you meet the people, I was telling Commissioner Mejia that I go out in the community, build those relationships, and it's like a family. I see people at Walmart, and they're like, hi. Some people call me the smoothie lady. I've been on TV making smoothies, and they all want to learn how to make smoothies. And they're like, who's that smoothie lady? I saw her on TV. So I enjoy being in front of people, teaching people, building those relationships. I don't mind being on television. Don't need anything.
Elizabeth, are you down like this all the time?
I want some of whatever she's on.
Yeah. Smooth.
Vegetable smoothies, if y'all need a workshop, I'll do it later.
Well, and what I can add is there is actually quite a bit of buzz about some of her programming in predominantly East Amarillo, where I've heard in different circles. And so asking questions of, Potter County has extension programs? And they're going, yes, they have extension programs. So I've definitely heard a continuous buzz about where you're kind of running up to the next circle. So thank you for your
Well,
work.
thank you so much. I appreciate being here. I did want to share the very first letter. Amy Wagner was not able to be here. She had forgotten to write an official letter of resignation, so I included that on there. We're going to miss her. We invite each of you to her going away, come and go party. It is Monday.
29th.
Is that the 29th? Correct, the 29th, 4 to 6. And so, again, I wanted to make sure I did that for her because that was really important that we didn't forget that letter. So if you have any questions, you'll notice it's kind of funny. I have a copy of my business card because I ran out, and those have to be ordered through Prairie View, which is outside of Houston, so they haven't sent those. But my information is there. You can reach me on my cell anytime if you need me. And I say my cell because I'm always out in the community. And people have called my office and said, where are you? You need to call me back. Call myself.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item number 7, the Texas Historical Society Commission to consider an action on request from the Texas Historical Commission, Potter County. I think Mike's, we're not gonna go too much into this because Mike's got
I'd received
some bad
notice,
news on this.
I'd received notice from Melissa Jackson with THC last week. They canceled the event for this year. Look forward to present a request next year.
Thank you.
Item number 8, Bushman, Smears Road, release of road dedication to consider an act upon request to release dedication of the undeveloped road in Bushman adjacent to 2309 Smizer Road.
As we've done many of these before, and just to kind of refresh your memory, the subdivision plat for what is called the town of Bush in our records has a lot of roads dedicated to the county, which means that if the county were to go kind of spake, the way I think of it is it's like a bookmark If the county wants to go build a road, they can build it here. And so most of those, or many roads, as you know, we had many requests from listeners to release our dedication of a portion of roads that were not developed. In other words, there are, if you look at subdivision plats, there are roads that are not there on the plat that were never developed and never will be developed. And so the landowners of the adjoining property frequently come and ask us to release our, our dedication, basically our right to release, to build a road. We have no legal interest in the road. It's not a county road, it's never been developed, so we have routinely granted those requests, and what the landowner does is record it in our deed records, so that the public will know that that property is no longer set off the road. And the ownership interest works, that whatever is shown on the road on the subdivision plat, the adjoining landowners each own to the halfway mark. So, I mean, and I think they already do, legally speaking. This just kind of clarifies the record. So we're not giving up any kind of legal interest, but we have to do it in order to allow them to kind of clarify their records. In fact, we find in most cases the landowner's already built something on that property. That's not the case here, but that's frequently requested. She would be here this morning, but had a conflict and apologized. She wanted to. We planned for her to be here to make a request herself, but she was not able to. And oh, by the way, and there's we've got a pretty good description in this release. We may do another legal, and if we have to, she'll pay for that and do it. And the map that I included shows you a little section that we're talking about. See, this road is not, this road, at least from here to here, doesn't exist. And I've seen photographs of it, and Road and Bridge has gone out and checked it out for the weekend. They've got no objection to us for this.
Commissioner, anything?
I have nothing to add. If there's no road there, there's no reason for us to. Yeah, even as far as I'm concerned.
Entertain a motion to.
I move that we release dedication on the undeveloped road in Bushland adjacent to 2309 Smiles Road.
Six. Got a motion and a second. In favor? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 9. Tax rate, fiscal year 2014-2015, final adoption. To adopt a proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2014 through 2015. Kemp?
We complied with all of the requirements for adopting the budget. We've had required public hearings. Even though our tax rate is not going up much, since it was over the effective tax rate, we were required to have 2 public hearings, which we've done. We're now at the point where you're ready to adopt the tax rate for the next fiscal year. We've got an order in there that will be signed for the record. We'll adopt that recites the tax rate, both the maintenance operation and the debt service rate.
I move that we accept the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2014-2015 of 60.60270 for maintenance and operation, 0.03132 for debt service, for a total of 0.63404. 402, excuse me.
Have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor? Passes 5-0. Item number 10, wire telephone policy to consider after upon amending the wire telephone policy to comply with IRS regulations.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to Carrie.
In the past, this has been This has been a taxable supplement to the employees who have the cell phone allowances with new IRS regulations. It is no longer taxable, and that's basically what the policy is reflecting.
Questions? I don't have any.
Yeah, we just got the back, I'm just reviewing it because we did not have the backup to prepare for the discussion.
If I understand this right, there's really two ways for our employees to be allowed to have county help with the cell or wireless cell. One is we buy the phone out and then pay the cost. The other is to help pay for their own private expenses, is that right?
Right.
And none of that is taxable.
At this point.
Do we have a form that has to be filled out?
Yes.
No, that's the process that this explains.
Right.
There is a form that's already developed.
Yes, actually, I think there are 2 or 3 different forms depending on what topic.
There's a clause in here on page 5B, towards the bottom, 2. Wireless phones assigned to Potter County employees for official business. Any personal will reimburse to the county. Any personal use of the phone, do we track that?
The only time we would need to track that would be if there are specific usage charges on the bill and.
Like an overage?
Exactly, and that is very rare.
Is this a new policy or is this a revision to a policy?
Revision.
Okay.
I move that we approve the amendment to the wireless telephone policy to comply with our IRS regulations.
Second?
To approve the second, all in favor? Passes 5-0. Item 11, resolution Texas Indigent Defense Commission to consider an act on resolution of Indigent Defense Formula Grant Program.
This is a reimbursement grant we've received since 2002, and we're just asking for the employee to apply for it again.
How much is the grant?
It has ranged anywhere from, it looks like 56,000 to this past year, we got 134,000, but that was a special disbursement of all of their fund balance. So we expect to get around 60,000.
I make a motion that we accept a resolution for the Indigent Defense Formula Grant Program.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second, all in favor? Passes 5-0. Item 12, a corporate purchase to consider an act upon purchasing 2 pickups from Grapevine Dodge in the amount of $53,527, utilizing a Tarrant County corporate purchase contract. David?
This is the final large purchase from the, excuse me, the equipment that you wanted to purchase from this year's budget. And after this, there's this purchase and one other that we're waiting on a department to give us some specs. But this is the last big purchase that we've done. And this, we are having to order these. These aren't in stock. And so I assume Carrie will have to bring an order allowing you to carry the money over the next year.
Carrie, any concern with that?
Well, it said we could only have 50,000 budgeted for this, and it's over that.
So the portion that is over, you the amount that was, budgeted for, would that come out of the, contingency?
That, or, we had some funds left over, I think, from road and bridge equipment was.
Well, overall of all the equipment purchases, we've probably saved around 40 or 50,000. So we're in the green around 40 or 50,000. So if you choose to use those funds that you've already approved for all the other purchases, if Carrie will allow it, then we can cover this.
Would that just be a budget transfer? Is that how you bring that back to the board?
I'll make a motion that we approve, and with a budget amendment of $3,527 to cover the overage.
Second.
Have a motion approved, a second. All in favor? That's 5-0. Item 13, fixed assets to consider and act upon replacing the 1997 Ford pickup, PC number 12823 with 2005 Ford Escape, PC number 16990, to be a temporary vehicle for the use of evaluation prior to two new vehicles being received. This will not increase the facility's maintenance vehicle fleet size.
I'll go ahead and kind of explain the situation. We sent out our auction list to all the departments for them to come look at what we had available before we sold it. And one of the two pickups that's slated for replacement and maintenance is of these two you just approved. It's to the point that they want to go ahead and try to replace it. We did have this 2005 Ford Escape that was scheduled to go to auction, but instead of sell it, we'd rather let them use it until their new pickups come in. And so they'll give us their old pickup, and then they'll use it and decide if they're going to turn it back in or maybe another vehicle that this could possibly replace. So they will never be up in their vehicle fleet size over the period it takes these two vehicles to come in.
What's the expense that we're looking at to repair it? Did you, and I may have not heard that correctly, the repairing the vehicle?
No, there's no repair, just
Okay.
replace, they're just replacing it with
Instead of
this.
getting rid of one vehicle, they're gonna take a different vehicle and.
For now, yes. And then when the two pickups come in, they'll give us two more vehicles in its place. So they'll never go up in fleet size.
Other questions?
I'm approved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the transfer.
Second.
And a second. Leon? All those in favor? Passes 5-0. And item 14, equipment donation. Consider and act upon donating a vehicle, a spike strip set, PC number 14856 to Randall County for use by Randall County Council.
These are spike strips that we purchased back in 2000 for the sheriff's office, and they turned those over to us with the caveat that they didn't really want those to go to the public. And so the constables, we called them and asked them if they could use them, and we had 5 sets. And so all the constables came up and picked up 1 set each, and we still have this one left over. And through some discussions with our constables in Randall County, there was some need over there, and I thought this would be a good way to get rid of those away from the county, but still not give them to the public. And so that's why I'm asking for a donation.
What do these strips cost?
They were, back in 2000, it was $420 is what we purchased them for.
I make a motion to donate the vehicle spike strip set PC number 14856 to Randall County for use by Randall County Council.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Thank you.
5-0. Item 15, fire and rescue, to consider and act upon giving permission to the post office to set mailboxes at the Oro Fire Station.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
Good.
How are you?
Oh, so far.
Okay.
They are gonna close, I'm not sure if Sargent's store is gonna close or if they're just gonna take the mailboxes out of the store. For years, the post office was at Sargent's store. They're on 1061 in Valley de Oro. And they need some place to move those boxes to. So they're gonna put up pour a concrete pad and set up 7 of what they call cluster boxes. If you've been out in the world, you see them sitting around the place. I guess in town also now. And it'll be off on the side of ours. It won't interfere with our operations anyway.
Which side is it gonna be on?
I believe they're gonna put it on the town side. South side or east side.
Are you talking Amarillo town?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
On the city side.
So you're talking side of the Oro town?
When you travel out that road curves and which direction switch is always an interesting subject out there.
You don't see any issues by them doing this?
No, sir. They came and talked to Richard about it. He went out and looked at it and said it wasn't any problem.
It might be a plus, but those clusters like that, they're all together, so I think it's
The only kind of question really to, I think, echo off of your question is if there's public traffic, and obviously, I'm just trying to think of how close that is to the actual station, if we're trying to get out of the station, and the urgency around that, if there's foot traffic is what I'm.
Our discussion about it is probably people pull up in front of it and stop and walk over, and when they put it on that side, most of the cars will be well out of our way. And if they're not, they're pretty close to the cars, I think they'll move pretty quickly for us.
How many people we talking per cluster?
I'm not sure.
I think there's 6 or 8.
Oh, okay.
That's the one where I'm at.
You're saying there have been about 4 of them or 6?
They're gonna put 7 of those.
7. Commissioner, you have any issue with it?
No, it's on, if it's on that side, it's on the side where you have your room, I don't know what you call it, your station, rather than where the vehicles are on the other side. So,
I guess my sister-in-law is the one that talked to Richard. She's postmaster. And I think that's the site that this site is all just staying from looking at this particular issue. So, we have a motion do I have a motion to approve? Somebody want to take that on? Okay, Judge Juarez, approve second. Mr. Vaughn, all in favor? Passes 4-0, 1 abstention.
Dave, who signs that?
I think they signed it for, well, I think the commissioners did okay, point Richard to sign on behalf of the commissioners, of course, and say,
The letter's written for Richard to
we already
sign.
prepared the agreement, that's in meetings.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Item 16, to hear a status report on assets forfeitures in reference to the legislation and the future of those asset forfeitures. And B, to consider an act upon the resolution supporting asset forfeitures as they exist at the current time, I guess. Completed there. Randall.
I'm pretty sure all of y'all are familiar with basically asset forfeiture, but I'm gonna kind of start from the beginning. The legislature passed, chapter 59 that allowed prosecutors to, with felony jurisdictions, start seizing assets in regards to individuals that are caught dealing with certain felony offenses, particularly first-degree felonies, and those sort of things. And it was an effort to augment the penal section of Texas Penal Code, where you take the body and do something with it in regards to some kind of punishment, rehabilitation, or deterrence, to try to particularly go after the narcotics industry and the transportation of illegal aliens and transportation of what I would call kidnapped girls turned into prostitutes. It was an effort to go after that, and the reason for it is, in particular for the drug transactions, you take a dealer off the street, there's somebody there that jumps right in behind. And it's no time and there's somebody there. And the lower the level the dealer is, the more apt it is, it's easier for them to replace. Then once you get into the hierarchy of chain, then there's always one that's gonna step up to take the person's place up in the higher role. So, the main purpose of the asset forfeiture was really to start on the narcotics industry and really try to hurt them financially, because in fact, that's what it is. It is a business, and they run it like a business. And as I said, just taking the people off the street are not going to hurt that enterprise. You need another mechanism in order to try to attack that. And that's where asset forfeitures came into existence with the prosecutor's word that we would not use it as a manner of being able to legally take everybody's property. And we haven't done that. We did have initially one jurisdiction over on the east side of the border between Texas and Louisiana. Quite frankly, that prosecutor, that district attorney never showed up at the legal seminar we had, never did anything, and they were doing things like roadside waivers where the officers would stop them, they catch them on the property, and then they'd have the person sign a waiver saying they didn't know anything about the property and take it right there. With no kind of due process on it or anything. And about 5 or 6 of us did the best we could to try to talk to that person and go, you don't need to be doing that. It finally took the federal court to be able to tell them that she's not supposed to be doing that. And that person, that's been several years ago, and that person's no longer in office. But then we've had a few hiccups with a few, the main purpose then of once that stuff is seen, that's the main purpose of why it exists. Then what happens with the proceeds, they go to a special fund that the felon prosecutor can use specifically for criminal justice purposes. And it's very limited on that. And the way I run it, my signature on the check by itself means nothing. And any expenditure I wind up trying to do, I talk to Kerry first. Even if I know it's gonna there's no question about it, I always say something to Kerry first. But there've been some district attorneys in probably the last 15 years, not so much in the last 5. One of them bought a margarita machine for the office Christmas party. Clearly not. Didn't seem to think there was any problem with it. That same prosecutor also took all his staff, all their spouses, district judge that heard their cases, and his spouse to a seminar in Hawaii for a couple of years and paid for everything out of that and gave them each a pretty hefty per diem every day out of it. And needless to say, he got in trouble once that all surfaced, and he got in trouble with the criminal statutes. And he still didn't, to this day, he still didn't think he was doing anything wrong. In fact, the matter was, he was. And quite frankly, I think the judge got in trouble for judicial ethics a little bit too. But by far and large, most of the prosecutors across the state are clearly using it for the intent of what it's there for. What has happened in the state of Texas and elsewhere is there has been a shift, quite frankly, in Austin that has became quite apparent last year on the House Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence, where we had, there's 9 members, 7 of those were brand new members to the legislature. And I'll put it this way, the good old days of some folks back in law enforcement are gone on a routine basis. There are many libertarians that have been elected to the House, and there are efforts already filed in federal jurisdictions with the DC to try to either do away with asset forfeiture, to either end asset forfeitures altogether, send all the proceeds to a general particular entity, say at the state level or at the federal level, then you apply to get grants back. You give the money to the Attorney General to control, to do with as they please. The Attorney General, I'll get to that in a minute. Increase the burden of proof on the state to seize asset forfeitures and property. Increasing reporting of seizures and expenditures of proceeds, and that's something I didn't mention a while ago. Yearly, we have to report where each dollar came from, and where each dollar went, and turn that in actually to the Attorney General's office is the oversight for that particular documentation. The federal system's got a U.S. attorney that runs the show for all the prosecutors across the United States. Texas is clearly stayed away from that mechanism and allowed local people to hire local people to be, or to elect local people to run the prosecution units. Senator Cornyn, now Senator Cornyn, former Attorney General Cornyn, made an effort to try to turn the state into a federal system for prosecutors. Attorney General Abbott has done the same thing in certain efforts, and all have been unsuccessful in the long run. But so things will stay local. But the Attorney General, they have consistently tried to grab more and more criminal power because, quite frankly, what they normally do doesn't catch headlines, doesn't get you press. A lot of it doesn't. The one thing that does is when Morales adopted, decided they were going to start helping to go after deadbeat spouses that aren't paying their child support. Other than that, so they've made efforts to try to maybe take over the criminal stuff or get statutes passed piecemeal, get them control over certain fractions of it. As I said, those are pretty much in general failed completely. But in regards to the asset forfeitures, it's important for things to stay as they are and how they're operating now. And the reason for that is, I can tell you DPS, Region 5 is up here in the Panhandle. It's one of the hottest regions in the state, of course, if not, for years it pretty consistently in a row been the top place for seizing assets due to Interstate 40 and drugs. That being said, a lot of the money, matter of fact, most of the money winds up coming from up here, goes down south, and it does not come back up here. We've needed a new lab out here for 30 years, and we haven't got one yet. So with more money, more people, finally got some more people, but they're climbing over the top of each other out there. But that being said, we're 10 months behind on lab reports, which means folks sit in jail and that sort of thing. We've done everything we can to try to do something about that. But that being said, in regards to sending money somewhere and expecting it to come back to the Panhandle, which has the smallest population of any region in the state, all the money hangs around I-35 corridor once it gets down there. That's what's happening with all the highway work's been done for the most part. But so that's not a good plan to turn around and put the Attorney General in charge of it. That's just the same thing as trying to turn around and give them control like we have the federal system. And it's my personal opinion, one person does not need to be in control of that and have that much power. So what I'm doing is I'm coming to you, asking you today to support a resolution basically asking for the asset forfeiture statutes to stay the same as it is right now. If they give it to the state for us to have to get it back, if they take it away altogether, there will be things like when the sheriff's department, I think it was a radar deal, I gave them 10 grand for something with radar a couple of years ago. Doing things like that, it would now fall to the taxpayers and the commissioners to have to do. Our paperless system, our case management system that we're working on. I've got 6 figures I'm gonna drop on that. And I can tell you, all the way back from when I've been in Potter County, Danny Hill was district attorney. Since then, Rebecca King took his place and now I've taken her place. We have been very conservative in what we do with that money, and it's nowhere come close to winding up being spent on anything that the carrier, I think, has been a close call. We used it to train my office staff and have a firearms training. And the reason, we had that set up before the incident happened in East Texas. I don't know if it was forethought from actually selling Hale and I getting together and talking about doing that, but we had that done before. The assistant DA got killed, had it done, and then did it before the DA got killed, and the DA got killed. But I think that's something that's important to do, but I didn't ask the court for that money, I didn't pay for it out of that. For the training for the investigators, they have to go shoot periodically to qualify for the T-plate license, to stay peace officer. I pay for all that out of that. Things like that, and other kind of trainings that we do here, when we wind up bringing in people from TDCAA, other things like that. I just get the stuff that we need to support all that kind of stuff and take it out of that's what so what I would say, to absolutely do away with it, or even put the money to go to Austin and then you have to apply to get it back, there will be a lot of things that are currently getting paid for, probably a bunch of it y'all aren't really even aware of unless you get in the budget and look at it. Probably have to become an ask on. So that's history, why I'm here, what I'm asking you to do, and I'll answer any questions that you got.
First question I have is, what good will a resolution do if the state wants to take it away anyway?
Well, I can walk down there and testify and have this in my hand, and go in the commissioner's court as sponsoring this. My next steps are to go talk to Senator Selger, Representative Smithy, and Representative Price about the issue also.
So, given your opinion right now, Randall, what is the prevailing thought of the law enforcement and the district attorneys throughout Texas in respect to this resolution and where it may end up as far as being more heavily solidified in the Austin or Houston area?
We're basically being preempted because we know something's gonna be filed. We don't know what it is that's gonna be filed. Because stuff's already been done at the federal level. And one other thing I left out is, of course, DA's office doesn't run out and go do all this. It's the law enforcement that goes out there and puts their skills on the line and does this, and then they wind up getting actually, in most cases, the lion's share of it. We split it up to a contract that we have, memorandum of understanding where certain percentages based on what work takes place. So we get the lower end of the amount, but then law enforcement gets the bigger end. Again, they're still limited also to using that for criminal justice purposes, like the sheriff used a bunch of that money for the Spillman project, to at least get the project done.
But all the DPS confiscations, forfeitures go downstate.
DPS money goes downstate.
I think most of the funds we're finding more out because it goes downstate. And once it gets down there, it's very difficult to get it back. And we're finding more and more of that. I don't think we need commissioners who would be heavily late and involved in petitioning us as a resource of giving these funds out. There are some needs.
And Randall, one of my questions, and I think you touched on this, was what is the House bill number, but nothing has been filed
Nothing's
today.
filed yet because they're not open to filing.
So do you think,
After January.
right, I just didn't know if there was anything in the last session they were kind of piggybacking off of.
No, I think what's caused the uproar is the legislature is changing in Texas predominantly Republican as far as in Austin at the legislature. And they have clearly, members who've gotten elected that are clearly further to the right than those like supporting, it's gonna try to stay with this. there are folks that are libertarians running as Republicans. Used to, all the Republicans were support law enforcement, help them how we can, when we want to do anything we can to help them before we get them on the street. Libertarians are not of that opinion. They want the government out of their business, and that includes law enforcement. They are joining with what I would call the two far ends, that far end to the right and the far end to the left, which thinks we don't need a lot of things that law enforcement does. And they wind up being able now to be able to move things and make things happen. I'm putting the two ends together. They now have the ability to try to possibly succeed on some of this stuff, whereas in the past, where it was just the far left wing, that wasn't an issue. They didn't have enough people to do that. Or the far right by itself don't have enough people to do that. But joining together, they can, and I've got some information I would really rather not discuss here, but there's got a Texas Supreme Court judge that's been involved with the group, a libertarian, but they got set up by a law firm out of DC that represented somebody on asset forfeiture, and they lost. And they're a libertarian group, and now they have set up formed an association, and the association's task is to resolve asset forfeitures across the United States.
Randall, do you think the resolution, and all valid points, everything that you've discussed with us this morning in terms of education, because this is certainly the first that I'm hearing of it, do you think the resolution is premature in the state that we don't have anything filed, and the resolution really speaks to, we oppose anything that you're trying to do to change the current process? And I'm only speaking to the fact of if it was a decision on our table, and if we got anything in response of, we oppose anything you're trying to do, rather than we take what's filed, we try to interpret what is that's really tangible, a line item that's tangible, that we're speaking to what we oppose within it. And not to delay the process, but the way it's written today, it's very global and vague, and I understand why, because it's not filed today, and we're just trying to raise our hand and say, we have concerns. But on the other side of the coin, if we're not willing to look at what's been filed and how it relates to us locally, I don't know if if it's too broad.
Well, what I will tell you is that asset forfeiture thing's been working now for basically 20-something years. And it's had very few changes. The procedural things have been tweaked a little bit, and obviously when we had the not so, what I would call, wise prosecutor, let the prosecutor find margarine machines and letting people go wide and that sort of stuff. It got revamped and made it more clear. It was vague, and it made it more clear exactly what you ought to be spending on and what you shouldn't. What I would tell you is the legislative stuff, if something's filed, it's going to be something that's going to dramatically change it in one of these 5 areas. Otherwise, there's nothing needing to be fixed other than doing away with it in some form or changing the mechanism where the money is going to go. By the way, in Mississippi, they passed a statute that made the money go on. I think it was Mississippi. I did my research a long time ago. The reason about the resolution, I was getting CLE last week, so Dave was nice enough to type that up for me over the weekend because we saw each other down there hitting CLE. And so I didn't have it myself, and that's my bad. But, so I wasn't here to get it out. But I believe it was Mississippi, they made it to where all asset forfeiture went to the state for the state to do something about it. And basically, because a lot of people weren't seeing any money come back to them, they just quit. So it's on the books. Law enforcement just stopped doing it because they weren't seeing any kind of return from the efforts what was doing. Money was going elsewhere into projects.
And to add to that, I'm certainly not negating the principle, I'm just thinking through the timing and the content of a resolution. And if this is handed off to, committee members, the content of it is what I'm speaking to. If we're premature in doing it today.
I don't think you are, because the only thing that's gonna happen that's gonna try to change this, or that I would even pull it out of my pocket, is gonna be one of the things I just mentioned today. It's some kind of procedural deal nobody's gonna care about, it's not gonna affect anything really. I don't even anticipate that happening, because it has been running quite well. But like I said, the only thing that happened, we had a couple of people all at the same time. Matter of fact, within 2 years of each other's business, not so smart things as I said, forfeiture funds, and that went into the statute. But it basically just codified what was already there. So
How many
what
other
I'll tell you,
entities?
once the legislature starts, things start rolling, and then Senator Sullivan's busy, Senator Price, or Representative Price is busy, Representative Smith is busy, and it gets hard to catch these guys, although I have good luck with it, but it's hard to catch these guys. And what we have found out in going to Austin in regards to criminal legislation is you're much better getting in at the forefront and making your stance clear to them before the people get in that are trying to change things, and talk to them and get their minds changed without having the information that they need from the people that are doing it.
How many other entities do you see performing this kind of resolution?
Pardon?
How many other entities do you, throughout the state, do you see doing these resolutions?
I have no idea. We talked about that. We talked about this. I'm on the board of directors for TDCAA, and I'm fixing to be in the leadership role. So at the board of directors meeting, we had a discussion about this. And so we're putting the word out across the rest of the members this last week about trying to do some of these things. And I'm just trying to get the ball started, so that I can go talk to Senator and Senator Sullivan, Representative Smithy, and Representative Price about these issues, and let them know the reasons that nothing needs to be changed that way. But we had 7 of the 9 members on the House committee who fall into what I would call libertarians last year. And we would stay till 4, if it was the day I was down there, we stayed till 4:30 in the morning. Largely because we had 7 newbies on there that want to change a whole lot of stuff. So I'm presenting to you, so I can put my ball rolling, and I can give it to the reps and talk to them about it. Obviously, I'll tell them that we're talking about changes such as what I've talked about here today. Not necessarily anything else, but there's not any reason for any other kind of deal to get filed, other than to try to do away with it and move the money to go in somewhere else, which will not benefit the state.
Further questions? I'll second. A motion to approve the resolution in a second. All those in favor? Opposed?
I'll abstain and not let the record would note that certainly welcome or entertain an additional resolution once a bill is filed. And Randall, if you need any support speaking with the representatives, certainly know the court is available for you as well.
Okay.
I think that's a great strategy.
Motion passes 4-0, 1 abstention. Item 17, executive session, contract negotiation, and role of local government corporation. A, to consider whether deliberations in open session would have a detrimental effect on the negotiations with the LGC in regard to the county's participation in a parking garage project. B, if unanimous, to hold an executive session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.0725 to deliberate business and financial issues relating to a proposed contract with LGC. or if not authorized, will deliberate in open session, and C, to take any action necessary after the executive session or deliberation in open session.
Now, having said all that.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I had to read the whole thing.
You could interrupt it.
I'll remind you that you do not have to go into executive session, and I don't even know if there's anything to discuss on this item. But if you want to, you don't have to discuss, I don't think there's anything really that critical, but that's up to you guys. You do not have to retire in executive session, you can discuss it in your open session if you choose to do so.
And what I would add as a member of the LGC and what I'd like to inform the court on, there are a couple of elements that I think would warrant a quick executive session, and only because there are other negotiation topics that are still open, and I certainly don't want to jeopardize that conversation. So I think it would be short,
Okay.
but I do think an executive session would be.
And then, so under this particular item, then item A requires you to take a vote and decide that, that deliberation and talking about those issues out here in open court would affect the, have a detrimental effect on negotiations.
So your recommendation is that it would?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a vote on that.
Yes, we need a motion, I'm assuming.
Motion.
I make a motion that we hold an executive session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551.0725 to deliberate business and financial issues related to the proposed contract with LGC.
Second, all those in favor? 5-0. Okay, we will break the executive session. Should take long, so don't go far.
If you're your contract, you're back or
If I could for y'all, please, I'll be on item number 5, again, was my project. Thank you for the lights on the parking lot. They are wonderful. You can actually see what's out there.
We can see what you're doing in there too. Okay, it is 10:25. We are back in session. And in reference to item 17, we'll pass that until our next commissioners meeting.
And no action.
And no action was taken, right? Item 18, employment items. The consider and act upon the following employment items: road and bridge, termination of Tristan Coyle, summer mower, effective 9/2/14. B, road and bridge termination of Isaiah Darns, summer mower, effective 8/21/14. And C, information technology. The employment of Clifford Osborne, application developer, effective 10/1/14. I want to make sure that's both of us. Okay. Have the motion to approve. We have one motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor? That's 5-0. Jail, let's go to item 20, jail report. To hear a report of the Colorado County Detention Center and to take any action necessary. 484 in custody, 102 are females, 10 are in Children's. Go back to item 19, the executive session. To hold executive session if necessary on the above agenda items. Chapter 551, everything on that. County insurance items, any county insurance?
No, nothing.
Agenda items to receive for next county. I guess we'll put the item 17 on that next. Anything to come before the court? We are adjourned.
Before you leave that resolution,
Sign.
asking